Most of you by now know that I work at VIP Mortgage. A lot of you may not know why or how I got there. For us as LOs, we have a lot of options, and for me, VIP Mortgage was the perfect fit and the best place, in my opinion, to work. So if you have any questions about VIP Mortgage as an LO, or if you are a consumer and you're looking for a mortgage, you can reach out to me on social media, or you can reach out to anybody else that you may know at VIP Mortgage. And our website is vipmtginc.com. So welcome to Real Talk with Ryan Madrid. Thank you, Austin Bates, for being here for the second time. So we actually are doing this for a second time because...
Not because it was so good and we're doing another one.
It's for multiple reasons, but I think it's funny to talk about. So Austin was one of the first people that we did, and I wasn't that good at it. And not that I am now, but you weren't having your best day either.
No.
I'm not sure if anybody was really having their best day that day. So, but through this process or the last few months, we haven't released it yet. And then you've kind of made a transition a little bit of your mindset, which kind of worked out because now everything that we kind of talked about before, a lot of that's still obviously relevant, but I think it's important to kind of go to where you're at now and talk a little bit about what your mindset is now versus what it was then, because it's more really what this show's about anyways.
Yeah.
And so before it was just all history and talking, everything about how you got in the business. And so let's just move right into
a chance meeting in my office, and it's kind of like
exactly.
Holy shit,
well, here's the story. Everybody might as well know the story. So I went into his office to kind of just talk to him about redoing it. And he's like, dude, what were you having, like migraines or something that day? Or you were seeing your blurred vision and hypoglycemic?
I don't know. Every once in a while, I'll get like this blurred vision, like you stare at the sun. And I'll look at my computer screen, and I can count on one hand the time it's happened. And afterwards, I don't really have a headache, but people describe migraines. It's kind of what they go through. But you're just kind of off a little bit. If there's a doctor listening and it's something bigger than, let me know. Maybe I
mean, you were sweating out like you had pit marks.
No, and I was like, and I was just like, not really into it. And then the room was a sauna,
right?
And the
So my first question to you is, why didn't you just say something? Like, let's not do this. We were in there for like an hour and 45 minutes. And you're sweating and like you're pasty and just I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
But we did get some good content, but it's been long enough now that we can re-talk about some of the things.
Maybe one day we'll play it on the radio.
Exactly. So I don't think we need to spend as much time in the history of Austin Bates like we did last time, because I think there's better stuff to talk about. But I do think it's really important to talk about your parents and kind of just how you got into it. We don't need to go into high school. He's from Tucson. He went to high school in Tucson, went to U of A, and then graduated.
I love a podcast on high school, man. I peaked in high school.
There you go. You did peak in high school. Well, you had 1 year. Oh, no, another thing there is one thing I want you to talk about, though, the Jason Pierre-Paul story. Is that who it was?
No, it was Antonio Pierce.
Oh, it was Antonio Pierce. That's right. That story, freshman year, U of A, walk on. So that's a funny story before we get into everything.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. I was done playing football, and I visited small schools, was out of my comfort zone and element. Fortunately, I had a high school coach who became graduate assistant at U of A. I was already going to go to U of A. He came and watched me run track. I did really good in the track and field finals. We won state in the 4x1, got third in the 400. He's like, hey, what are you doing, next year? I'm like, I think I'm done. I'm just going to go to U of A. I went to a fraternity party with my brother, and 5 girls told me I was good looking at U of A. And I was committed,
Yeah.
He's like, why don't you come and throw with us over the summer? If there's a spot, maybe you could walk on. I played quarterback in high school. And so I throw over the summer with them, and then U of A they start camp, and rookies and newcomers and freshmen show up. and I'm reading in the paper because I live in Tucson, and I'm like, well, I guess I didn't make the team. So 2 days pass, it's the day before camp starts. I get a phone call. They're like, hey, Austin, we've got a spot. We want you to come down and walk on. Welcome to the team. So I drive down to U of A.
As a wide receiver, though, right? Or
I got there and they said, hey, congratulations, here's a receiver playbook. Okay. Well, I guess I didn't throw very well, but I'm fast.
Yeah.
So I get there and I'm there for the last night of the freshman and JC transfers reporting, the veterans report the next day. So they all got to know each other and meet each other and go through everything, all the scholarship guys and preferred walk-ons and stuff. And so when I get there, I go to my room, I get changed and stuff. They're like, okay, meet down here at like 6 o'clock for like a team huddle. We're going to kind of go around and get to know everyone. So first off, I go upstairs and I take a shower and I come down and I'm kind of on Austin time. So I get there like 5:02. Everyone's already seated around in a circle. So I'm late to my first fucking meeting. And the graduate assistant coach the graduate assistant coach that I knew looks at me. He's like, "Fuck, where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm in a shower. I have no direction here. I have no clue what's going on." So I sit down in a circle, and I'm right next to a guy, Antonio Pierce, who went on to play in the NFL.
Long career.
He's
the Giants.
He's an NFL broadcaster now for ESPN, I think.
Right. And he was a linebacker, defensive end.
So he was a junior college transfer. Everyone in the room was either junior college transfers or true freshmen. The true freshman guys were all the scholarship guys, the JC transfers. And you look around the room and you've got, 4-star athletes. U of A had been good prior to that, so they had a good recruiting class come in there. But Antonio Pierce was just 2 or 3 years older than everyone.
Right.
He looked so much.
He was a
more,
man.
Yeah, he was a man. We were kids.
Yeah.
I was a little boy. They were kids, and he was a man. He had he just had a pissed off look on his face, and I was like, who's this guy next to me? And so everyone starts to go around the room, and they're all telling their stories of how they got there. And he was like, state champion, and won this and did that, and tough upbringing, and I'm like, shit, here I am, a white walk-on receiver from the foothills in Tucson. Junior year, we went 0-10.
Dad's a pilot.
I'm trying to find where my toughness will come from in this. No one knows who I am, but I deserve to be in the room. Didn't win anything big minus a 4x100 meter relay in track. And so it continues. And as it goes around, I'm just going, I'm like, what am I going to say? And then it gets to Antonio Pierce and he's next. And he starts talking. He's kind of quiet, very reserved in there. Still looks like he wants to kill someone. He's like, I'm not proud of some of the things that I did in my life. I sold drugs to support my family. He's like, I did whatever it took. He had a kid or 2 kids at the time, and he starts tearing up, and here is literally the toughest guy in the room is starting to tear up and choke about how he got to where he's at because he worked so hard to get there. There were so many obstacles in his way. Yeah. And the more he talked, the more I'm like, God, shut up. I was so uncomfortable. I'm like, what in the hell am I ever going to say after this guy speaks to sound like I belong in this room? And I literally, I think by the time it got to me, I blacked out for like 45 seconds, tried to say something tough about the foothills in Tucson, and no one really respected me, or maybe winning a relay race or something like that.
The worst spot ever in the circle.
I picked the worst spot in the circle, and rightfully so, because I was late, so I probably deserved it. But I still will always remember it's the most uncomfortable I've ever felt probably in my entire life. And it was my welcome to college, kid.
Right.
Like, you're not worth shit anymore. And
you peaked.
Everyone around you. So that's what I said. I peaked in high school because high school was great.
So he went on to play 1 year and then he was drafted, or did he play 2?
I believe he played 2, and then he was drafted. He wasn't either drafted late or he wasn't drafted. But the interesting part about him is that one of the better players to ever come through U of A, and now he's a coach at ASU.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
But he would, when you would see him afterwards, like on Monday Night Football, when everyone would introduce themselves and who they are and where they're from, he would always say Antonio Pierce and either claim his high school or his junior college. Because in his thoughts, from what was told to me, I'm not speaking for him, U of A's defense was focused on the middle linebacker who became Lance Briggs, and he played the outside linebacker. Mm-hmm. So the defense was focused on the middle linebacker. Everything went to Lance. Lance got all the stats. Lance got all Pac-10. Lance got drafted. Lance was a Pro Bowler. He was moved to outside linebacker. And so, granted, he got 2 huge contracts in the NFL.
Right.
But still, he was.
Well, Terrell Suggs doesn't claim ASU either.
Which is crazy.
He like says like Hamilton High or wherever he went to high school. Yeah, it's super weird.
But yeah, he was the toughest guy I'd ever seen, right next to me, with the toughest upbringing story I'd ever heard, and made me just look like the piece of shit.
Just a white boy from Catalina Foothills.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the funny story that I really wanted you to tell, and then we'll just move into a little bit about Austin's career. He had a huge year last year. He's been in the business for a long time. Got in the business from his mother, who was working at Nova Home Loans. I'm just kind of doing a little bit of bio for you, so you don't have to keep going too deep into it. Dad was a pilot in the Air Force.
Air Force, yeah.
Yep. And then airlines, and retired now. Mm-hmm. So talk a little bit about your mom's influence on you with the mortgage business and kind of how you got into that.
Yeah, and quick background on stuff. In college, I tell a lot of stories that don't put me in the best light, but in college, I got into the business.
Dylan, is he close enough to the mic over there? Yeah. Okay, cool.
I got into the business school, I think, because I was playing football. So, I had like a 3.0 or 3.1 GPA, and a lot of athletes go through the application process for business school, but my brother was in it. So I'm like, I'll just follow that path. It seems easier. And he was a finance major. So I'm like, I'll go finance, because either people in my fraternity or my brother can tell me the classes to take. And then I'm in finance, and I always liked math. To me, math was always really easy for me, but I had this accounting class in college that was like, it was the worst experience of like my the 2 worst experiences, Antonio Pierce and this one. And this teacher, basically, it was a tougher teacher to understand. But he had a certain way to do things, and even if I got the same net result, the way that I got there might not have been appeasing to him. And so I was out bitching about the class in front of it, like 3 weeks into the business school, and I see my buddy from high school, buddy of mine, Aaron LaPrice, and I'm like, God, I hate this accounting class, man. He's like, dude, you should move over to marketing. He's like, it's 80% women, and it's still in the business school, and you don't have to take accounting. I'm like, done. So I go 2 years of marketing, and to be honest with you, like, I wouldn't change any part about that, because marketing was like the greatest 2 years I could have ever taken. Everything you learn about doing prepares you more for life than probably anything I would have done finance related.
Right.
But with marketing, you have to usually get into sales. I didn't want everyone going to sell wine at Gallo or, like pharmaceuticals.
That's like it's like Enterprise Gallo.
Yeah. Everything that everyone was doing. I'm like, I don't want to do any of that. So my
Right.
mom was in the mortgage business. And at the time it was 2003 when I was graduating. And she's like, well, you should get into this. You could position yourself. There's a lot of flexibility. It could be very lucrative. So I jump on for a year with her in Tucson at Nova, but I didn't want to stay in Tucson. So working under her, and essentially because she would just work from home. And I wanted to be, starting a career in the office. So I get all dressed up and go in the office, and then I'd sit there for 4 hours because she'd be at home. She's like, you can go in the office all you want. She's like, I'm not there. All the work I'm doing is at home.
Right. Were you working for her?
I was working for her. Yeah, I was her assistant.
Okay.
But I'd go in there, print guidelines, create folders, get myself all prepared like I'm getting ready to start school. And I just kind of go through that stuff. But I was just kind of in her office, just like reading shit, printing everything that I could, trying to learn it. And then I'd go home at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then she'd be doing all of her other work, But a lot of her influence was, with the way that she ran her business, like she just didn't, not that she didn't trust anyone, but she held everyone to a high accountability. So in her mind, she didn't trust computers. That's one thing she didn't trust. She didn't trust computers. So she would always do everything by hand. And she's like, if the computer's wrong, I need to be able to explain it. So she would fill everything out by hand. And I kind of got into a habit of doing that. And to me, it was kind of fun because, again, I liked math. So it's like, okay, well, does this add up or does it not? Can you understand how you got to this point by doing this? But in the other sense, like her accountability side of it was she wasn't sitting around and wait to get the result that she needed. She would bug the crap out of everyone until she got it, or she didn't agree with something. She would drive down and go into someone's office and say, no, you're wrong. She's the kind of person who, when she would call and talk to you, well, yeah, I'll fax that over to you. She's like, okay, cool. I got a fax machine right here. So I'll wait for you while you go and do that. Oh, you're going to be 30 minutes. Okay. What's your direct extension if I don't have it in 30 minutes? Because I'm going to call you. It's because people relied on her. So she held everyone accountable for what she needed to do. And I didn't really realize it at the time, but some of those things that you just arbitrarily will come across or hear her do kind of shape fast forward 15 years, some of the habits that you have that make you successful, you go back and you say that that's because of how she would do things, you know. But at the time, I had no idea because I was only down there for a year. And then, you know, through a relationship of hers, she was able to get me a connection with a job at a mortgage bank up here in Phoenix for a couple of years. You know, during the boom, you know, when everyone else is answering the phone and making a ton of money, I was doing, you know, a banking job, you know, 8 to 5, but really 7:45 to 5:30.
So you're like working at a retail bank?
It was a mortgage bank called Shelter Mortgage, so a subsidiary of Guarantee Bank. So they had like kind of a banking clientele, but not like a walk-in retail bank.
Gotcha.
But they would service and everything.
Yeah.
But you know,
Why didn't you just go to Nova in Phoenix?
I
Or was that not here yet?
actually interviewed for Nova up here, and they weren't expanding or hiring at the time.
Okay.
So because of that, I took this opportunity, the first one I can get at Shelter. But I met with Mayan, who was Rachel Lang's mom at the time, and I remember, you know, she's like, "Hey, I know your mom really well," and she's like, "But I'm not looking to expand right now." And it's funny because it was you know, late 2003, right before, you know, everything started blowing up. But you know, but again, forks in the road. You know, but that would have, who knows where my life would have been if that would have gone that way. So I took this job at Shelter Mortgage, and you know, they had me become a notary like right out of the gate. You know, I was processing my own loans. I was signing clients for the bank. You know, I remember I got my first set of closing paperwork within like 2 weeks of being there, and I have to go sign a client at 8 o'clock at night at their house, and I pull over to an Albertsons parking lot, and I call my mom, and I'm going through a set of closing documents that's, you know, 90 pages deep, and I'm like, "What's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? What if they ask me about this? What if they ask me about that? What's this? What's that?" You know, to this day, I think 99% of loan officers have never gone through a whole set of closing documents or signed a client.
Do you think you could do that still?
Yeah.
You could?
Yeah.
Every page?
I did enough of them.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I was so concerned I didn't know what I was talking about that I went through almost all of them. Yeah. And I would do it over and over again. Yeah. Because I was just concerned that I would feel, you know, incompetent, you know. And it got me into a habit, too, kind of it was interesting. I would go there, and I was so worried they'd ask me a question about not my loan, someone else's loan that I didn't know the answer to. So I'd walk in everyone's house, and I'd find something on the wall that I could relate to, and I'd be like, "Oh, hey, U of A or football or I don't know, whatever it was." I'd shift the conversation right away and be like, "Cool, we're friends now, we're personal. So if you have any questions I don't know the answer to, I'll get you tomorrow." And they were okay with that, you know? Yeah. And I think that really worked for me moving forward in my career because, one, I obsessed about making sure I knew the answers to something, or I had someone available to me to get it, or I bugged the shit out of someone until I found it because I was accountable to someone else. But two, you know, I kind of looked for a way to create a connection with people early on. And I did it because
was that just an innate thing that you just thought about doing?
It helped me get out of uncomfortable situations.
Yeah, okay. So you just were nervous and trying to figure out how to.
And what's interesting is that,
deal,
you know, when I moved forward in that job, I hated the fact that I had to be in that environment for a certain amount of time. You know, lunch from 11:45 to 12:30. You know, and so if I had to be there all day, every day, I was just getting a little restless. So everyone I talked to, I'm like, "Oh, hey, I'll come drive to your office and pick up your pay stubs. You can print them. No, cool. I'll drive and get them. Get me out of the office. Right. I'll drive to your house. I'll drive to your office. I'll drive to lunch. I'll drive you to the airport. You know, whatever it took to get me out. And then it got me comfortable in other people's environments. You know, when I left that job, I ended up, you know, signing up with a company in Tucson and brokering, but out of my condo for 2 or 3 years. And I was only able to get through that because I drove to everyone because I was used to doing it. It was just kind of part of what I did.
How were you getting deals at that point? Because if the other bank, they were coming to you, right?
They were in a sense, but I'd also started relationships when I was there. Okay. You know, I was able to get on a condo conversion site, you know, so I put myself in position for opportunities, you know, and then I always just put my head down and worked really hard, you know, whatever. And it was able to kind of continue to get referred.
How old were you at this point?
I was 25. Let's see. I left the bank 26, 27, 28.
Oh, okay.
You know?
That's good. I mean, you're old enough. People are buying houses and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's tough for kids. It's tough for some, I don't want to say kids, but, you know, people in their early 20s to try to get in this business. And because it's like, first of all, you need to find people that are going to trust you to do their loans. And they don't, you know, it's tough to say that, somebody who's 22 years old knows what they're doing with it.
Give me $300,000.
Right. But also, you don't really have any friends yet that are buying houses. You don't really have a network and a relationship of people that you can
then by that time, everyone you put into a house, the house value is down 5% 2 months later, you know? I mean, we're getting into the downturn now, you know? So at the banking job, it was the upturn. With the brokering, it was the downturn. So there's no repeat business because no one you did a transaction for could do anything because they're underwater in most situations. So you're kind of chasing new business every time. But my biggest issue was, I didn't love the business. I probably spent the first 10 years trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
I hated the perception of the business because, we were the scumbag from The Big Short who's doing loans for strippers. That was the perception of mortgage originating. We set the economy back a decade,
Yeah.
And so here I am. I'm like, well, wait a second. I'm better than that. I'm college educated, played sports in college. Like I'm good at this. I work hard, but I didn't want anyone to know what I did. Right. So I spent 8 or 9 years, 10 years doing my job, but really just
embarrassed a little bit about what you did for a living.
I went to an information session at ASU to try to maybe take an MBA in something, and then I got anxiety being back in the classroom.
I think this is actually a good point to talk about a little bit right now, because even like one of the vision statements here is to change the perception of the mortgage business, from just for the community in general, right? Because of what happened there, people are still going. Like right now, where there's a shortage of homes, when's the bubble going to happen? Everybody's freaking out, but we don't really know what's going to happen, right? We don't know what's going to happen after the pandemic like completely kind of goes away and what the fallout's going to be, but. It's not because of mortgages, right? Because it's really hard to get a mortgage nowadays.
Yeah, we violate people now.
Yeah, so going back to like the image, right, and like because I mean people still feel that way somewhat,
You still that's a bit of a.
It's a little bit of a It's not like you're saying you're a neurosurgeon,
no.
Right? That feels good every day, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but you're like, I do mortgages, and people are like, oh man, you're killing it right now. But it's like. Yeah, I mean, I totally get it. In the restoring the reputation, I know Jay and Keith were huge about that, and Stu. And I mean, Stu just doesn't even like the word loan officer. Like he's like, we're mortgage bankers, we're mortgage consultants, right? Just because of the negative connotation.
I don't think that there's a term you can give to it that still makes me feel comfortable about it. And I think it's because, kind of like Stu too. Like that happened during a very impressionable time in my life. So from like 22, 23 to 30, I shied away from who I really was and what I was doing. And I was waiting for an opportunity to do something else as the industry that I'm in continued to get worse and worse and worse. And oh, by the way, the perception of what I did was just terrible, so.
But now knowing how hard you work every day, I mean, you've got to have a different perception of what you do. And the truth is, though, it is. So I left the world of everybody that people thought was the greatest job on earth, right? It was the medical device sales guy, right? I did that world, and everybody thought I had the greatest job. And all I did was look at my friends that worked in the mortgage business and be like, dude, why are these guys making so much money? Like, or why am I traveling every week and they're not, right? So they're able to have the autonomy, make a lot of money, but they're also providing. Especially in your deal, man. I mean, like so Austin's really big in the new home sales market. I mean, he's like one of the guys that works. There's probably you and like 2 other people really that are like the 2 big or the 3 big people that do new home sales for all the communities. But you're going through and you're finding a lot of new first time home buyers, a lot of people that they're doing everything they can to get that first home. It's not like they have like $300,000 to throw down, right? They're scraping. They're like, all right, we really want a new house. I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's got to validate some of the feelings, right?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it took, my career really turned. I'll always go back. It was like 2013, I think. I did a training session. This guy, John Foltz, he used to be the president of Really Executives for like 20 years. Very like an iconic.
Realty
Executives.
Yeah.
Like an iconic real estate person in the Valley. And he does a thing where he gets, like 10 real estate agents and a couple lenders, and he puts on this kind of coaching session, if you will. And you're coming out of the downturn. I forget if it was 12 or 13 or 14 when it was, or 12 or 13, I think. You're coming out of the downturn, and everyone in that room was impacted. These agents were some of the highest end agents, and they'd been through bankruptcy, divorce, lost everything. Yeah, and you stand up, and you're kind of given a background on who you are and how you're there, And by this time, I've been doing it long enough that things have been going, okay. They're getting better. I'm taking it more serious. I still wasn't really taking it too serious at the time, but everyone's getting emotional when they stand up, and so it comes down to me, and I stand up, and I give that perception of the industry, don't tell people what I do kind of thing and background, and John looks at me, and so he starts asking me these questions. He's like, well, let me ask you a question. He's like, if your family member or a friend of yours called and they said, I need help with a mortgage, would you refer them to someone else, or would you work on it yourself? I'm like, I work on it myself. He goes, well, why? I'm like, because no one would work harder on it. He's like, do you think you do a good job? I'm like, yeah, I do a really good job on it. And he's like, so you want to change the perception of your industry without telling anyone what you do, but you don't want anyone else to work on something because you know you do a really good job on it. And he goes to me, and he's like, and I know you do a really good job on it. And it was like kind of what I needed when I need it. Like I could feel him. Here's this iconic figure telling me that, hey, you're really good at this. I know you're really good at this. And if you've got a gift for doing this, you have to tell people what you do, because more people need to experience the treatment or the how hard you're going to work on this. Yeah. The people around you don't work that hard. How you could separate yourself. And it was one of those things where it's what I needed when I needed it. And at that time, I would separate work and personal kind of. Like, to me, they don't know what I do.
Right.
Could be kind of an enigma, if you will.
That was probably good, though.
Yeah. Then.
When he was running around heavy in Old Town.
Heavy.
Not married.
12, we'd been dating for 6 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Never mind. Sorry, Lindsay.
So then I started to kind of believe in that. I'm like, well, I guess you're right. I do a good job, and I will work harder. Part of the reason people would align with me is because of how hard I would work, and they know that, like, dude, you'll do whatever it takes to get these deals done, or to get this thing closed, or you take this personally, or I mean, literally, I picked up a client once from her office to stop by the bank to print out a check to drive, and then drove her to the airport because she had a flight that she had to take, but I couldn't get the loan closed without a copy of the check, and it wasn't coming out on online banking. And so, like, little things like, and
that's not normal to everybody.
It was just part of whatever it would take. I would drive to closings and pick up docs and take them back to the funders so that they would get there on time and not wait for the courier. Because I'm like, this has to go, and I think people realize that. Right. And part of the reason that I do like that new build backup space, if you will, kind of where we've grown a big is because our reputation in that space is these guys work really hard to get it done. And for me, I take a lot of pride of my name being associated with hard work, because I can't change guidelines, I can't change rates, but I could change how hard I work to get something through. And if my name's associated with that, I'll take a lot of pride into it, mainly because, my name, my branding, it's all revolves around my last name, and that's my mom and dad. Yeah. My mom brought me into this business. If my name's associated with hard work, at the end of the day, there's still that chip on my shoulder that's trying to change the perception of this industry. And if I could do it by my name being associated with the right way to do things, then I take a lot of pride in doing that. And that's what kind of drives me moving forward now.
So where were you at before you were at Homeowners? Or were you at Homeowners at this point?
So at Homeowners, it was at Homeowners in 2012. Before that, I'd brokered, and then, I mean, I literally, I got to the point where I said I would go back into banking. It's 2009. I mean, I'm like, I can't keep doing this anymore. It was a failed experiment on starting a brokerage, it's another story for another time. But I literally called my mom, and I'm like, hey, I need you to make some calls for me. Like, I need something solid. None of my friends are starting those companies that I figured I would someone's going to fall in my lap, call Austin, he'd be the great guy to work with you. I'm like, I'm 29 or 30. This isn't changing. I gotta keep doing this, but I'll go back into banking. And I got introduced to a guy, Tim Jordan. He's over at Homeowners now. Sat down, met with him, fatherly figure, super cool guy, reminded me so much of my dad. And at the time, he was trying to start Paradise Valley National Bank, which was the only bank in queue with the FDIC in the state of Arizona in 2009. But in the meantime, he had a brokerage or a mortgage bank or correspondent company called First Advantage Mortgage for a company out of Chicago. So I met him, clicked, got along with him, got myself back into like an office environment for the first time in like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
But it was me, Tim, Heather Sorensen, Eric Murrieta, Manny Lopez, Chris Q.
Was Joe Connor there yet, or no?
Joe wasn't there yet. We were just First Advantage, but it's that environment was kind of my shift back in towards more serious. I mean, I've been working on my couch for the last, when everyone talks about like working at home for COVID, I did it for 4 years when I was, 25, 6, 7, 8. I know what it's like to work out twice without showering, sit on your couch and be sending emails at 11 o'clock at night and be like, holy shit, what just happened? It's just not healthy.
Yeah.
You can get into it. I'm so efficient. But
all those guys guys and girls that you named, they're all super successful in the business still.
Which is incredible because they've gone on that small little office, we ended up being, Tim made the decision that, probably better to have Arizona ties. And so he'd met Bill Rogers over at Homeowners and as a branch, Tim basically said, hey guys, I've decided to make this move. You guys can do whatever you want. We're like, we'll do whatever you say. So me, Tim, Eric, and Heather at the time went over to Homeowners and interesting enough now, when I left, I was Homeowners top producer. Eric runs the corporate office at Homeowners right now. Tim runs the Southwest region for Homeowners right now. And Heather's basically taken over Tim's business. So, probably the best recruiting play they've ever had, but just 4 great people, and we learned a lot through them. And I remember I'd come to Tim's office and I'd be like, hey, Tim, and I always I still tell him I admired his mindset because, he was at a different stage in his career at the time. He worked for banking, he runs a great business. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out a way to make this deal work. He's like, I wouldn't do it, man. He's like, I'd move on to the next one. I'm like, I don't have the ability to say no to these things, man. Like, I don't have your pipeline. I got to figure this thing out. But that was his mindset. And I always admired that about him. But, it was a great group. It was solid. And, one by one, everyone kind of moved over to corporate. So, unfortunately, we didn't stay like the 4 of us in the same office for like a decade.
Right.
But, everyone's gone on to do, really, really great things.
You'd probably still be there if you did. If you guys were all still in the same office.
Tim made a comment once, which I'll always kind of think about, like in the what ifs, like, what if Paradise Valley National Bank actually got their charter and we all went over there and we're still, part of a bank that launched on the ground floor? That would have been a cool alternative reality. I would imagine me, Eric, and Tim would all still be there. But again, in that transition to Homeowners, I mean, I kind of learned a lot about builder business at Homeowners because Bill had been heavily involved with that, and they'd had a platform for it, and I never really knew a lot about the builder business until I got there, and luckily I had some relationships in the space. But I saw the way that they did it and the way that they built it and how they got some of the relationships and stuff.
So was the appeal for that because it was less hunting and you're like, okay, it's like, okay, I'm going to have some deals. Because I think that there is a perception, right? It's like, man, you got the greatest deal ever because, I work for the builder. But really, you do turn down for most of them, and then you are the primary for others. But to go like, okay, you got a housing community right now where, I mean, that business is insane.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they can't make enough houses.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like it's feeding your business, right? Even though you have this outside business as well, right? Mm-hmm. But you're known as the builder guy.
Yeah, and no one really wants to try to get into that space. I mean, people will come to me and say, I want to get into...
If they want to, it's hard.
Well, they'll say, I want to get into builder business, but I mean, they don't really understand like the type of builder business that we do. We do backup, turn down, difficult builder transactions as the majority of our builder business. We've been able to get some preferred relationships through that. But I never went into it with the idea that, hey, this will be a steady flow of business. I kind of, happened to notice a trend in my business and have a relationship that I could reach out to with that trend to help get an appointment with, a really good builder here locally, Meritage Homes. And I remember sitting down at that appointment and Bill Rogers came to that and that's the thing about homeowners. They would come with you on that. Bill would be like, hey, and he's gonna sit there and embrace Austin as like one of our best LOs. And at the time, like I felt like I was nothing like that.
Was Philippe there already?
Philippe was there, yeah, but he wasn't in that room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he help at all with that, getting that meeting?
You know, I reached out to him about the business that I'd gotten from Meritage, you know, and I'd asked him, you know, hey, what is this? I've gotten some of these deals that your mortgage company couldn't do, you know, like 5 or 6 here in the past 12 months.
And this is your old buddy from
yeah, a good friend of mine
days.
that I have. You know, I'd seen him elevate from, you know, Acacia Capital to Meritage VP of, I think, strategic marketing, to Western Region President, you know, COO, and now he's CEO. You know, and talk about an incredible run for, you know, talk about a hard worker,
and the gym and.
But just talk about like his run, you know, what a hard worker. But and I was like, do you guys have backups to your mortgage company? How does that work? He's like, yeah, we do. You know, every division has their own backups. He's like, you know, why do you want to try to get into that? I'm like, I'd love to. I'm like, I have 4 or 5 deals. I'm like, I've done your personal loans. You know how I work. He's like, well, let me see if I can get you a meeting. He's like, but I'm not going to be in it. I'm like, I don't want you there. I'm like, I wouldn't want you in the room. If you could tell me who to reach out to, or maybe I could try to set something up. So he was able to set up that first meeting, and I went into it. And I remember their division president, VP of sales, or closing manager, you know, sitting across the table from us, and we're over here. And, you know, I talk about, well, you know, trying to sell myself and say I've done that. And before I even said anything, they knew every transaction that I've done, you know, like the survey on it, the closing on it, when docs were out on there. I'm like, holy shit, this is a different type of accountability, you know? Like, we went through all of this stuff, and we had a really great appointment. And Bill's like, you know, Austin's one of our best loan officers. He's very good. He's got the support of the company. And so they're like, well, you know, you came, highly recommended. You know, I appreciate the time. You know, we know the company really well. And so I left there, and I'm like, hey, this is cool. I got, you know, I'm gonna start doing builder business stuff. And 2, 3, 4 months later, nothing kind of coming through it. Reach out every once in a while, not really heard back anything. Didn't want to bug Philippe through it at all. And you know, happened to kind of come into contact with Philippe again, and she's like, hey, how's it going? Are you getting any business from him? I'm like, I haven't yet, but I'm like, I'm still reaching out periodically, just ready when we can kind of get something. And you know, like a couple of days later, we got a referral over to us, and it was this pissed off Canadian guy. You know, he was pissed off at Meritage, pissed off at their mortgage company, you know, pissed off at the United States of America, you know, just everything. And it was, you know, the very hostile client. And we got it. We talked through it with them, you know, figured out the only way that it would go, and then conveyed it back over to Meritage that, you know, hey, this is when this is set for, but this is the only way that this is going to go, and this is different than what your expectations are. You know, you tell us how you want to move forward. And they're like, okay, well, if you can get it done, then it has to go by like July 15th instead of June 30th. You know, but you know, again,
is that the real date?
It was July to June. Yeah, it was really.
Your recollection on this stuff is.
I know so many useless numbers.
Weird. It's so weird.
Because I remember he was on short-term disability. He was going back to full-time, like July 10th or something like that, and we needed his first pay stub. So we closed it, but not only did we close it, you know, we turned the client. Like, he really liked us, you know. He liked working with Stacy and I, and we did it. And I think they were kind of like, well, shit, you did it. Here, take this one. Similar kind of situation, you know, really pissed off client. And got it, poured into it, figured it out, turned it.
Quit banging the table.
Sorry. We're able to turn it, close it. Client liked us. So they would tell us, you know, that, you know, hey, you're closing these things, and you're closing the things that we're giving you were very difficult. But we want to let you know that you're also, you know, getting high responses on the surveys. And, you know, for us, surveys are very important. And generally, mortgage is always the lowest scoring on the survey, just because no one likes the mortgage process. And, you know, you guys are taking our most difficult clients, and you're getting 8s and 9s on surveys. And so we just want to tell you that we noticed that, and thank you for that. And, you know, fast forward maybe 2 years or so from there, I remember I had a birthday celebration, and Philippe had come over, and we never really talked much about business on that. And maybe it was a year and a half later. And he comes up to me and he goes, you know, hey, I just want to say thank you. And I go, you know, for what? He's like, you know, Joe Elbert's over there at Meritage, he's an incredible closing coordinator. He's probably, one of my most respected people in the industry. He intimidated the shit out of me when we started. Joe came up to me and said, "Hey, I gotta tell you, like I hate lenders and backups and stuff like that. And last thing I want to do is take on anyone else.
Yeah.
But these guys have hands down separated themselves, and we became their preferred. They'd had multiple, and we became their preferred backup, in a short amount of time. And I liked being rewarded for the hard work and doing a good job, and that kind of fed my growth. And it's fun to kind of get something and be like, look, you got 45 days to figure it out. If you can't do it, let us know. But if you can do it, you can't fucking be wrong.
Yeah.
Because we've got to report this to these guys, and they got to report to Wall Street. And so, yeah, there's a steady flow that's there. But again, we're asking for the most difficult things that they have. And, if I say yes, that means no one else could say no. And if I say yes, then it has to close. And so I found an environment where the accountability was so high that the emotion was kind of stripped from it. It was all just, mortgages and numbers and qualifying, but then people, managing people and believing in people. And the longer we've done it, the more we've done, the more transactions we've fixed, the more deals we've restructured or closed, the more we've learned that we can do, the better we've got, and the more our reputation has kind of grown in that space. And again, and it's tied to, hey, these guys they're not going to bullshit you. If they could do it, they're going to do it. If they say they could do it, there's no one better at it than doing it than these guys are. And
your headphones falling off.
Dude, it's because they're
pull it
backwards.
forward, dude.
It's because the jaw. You got to turn this thing around. And that's what kind of fuels my growth in that space.
Yeah.
Is because I like the way everyone interacts. The home building industry, those guys work so damn hard. They always work. They work their ass off, and they don't trust anyone. And then once they trust you, they refer based on trust. For them, it's not competition. If you're under contract with Meritage, then you're not competition to KB.
Right.
If you're under contract with KB, you're not competition to Meritage. So if someone at Meritage knows someone at KB, they say, hey, call Austin. He's really good at getting deals done. We're not taking business from Meritage.
It's basically just a referral.
Yeah. And so.
Yeah, when we had Frenchie in here, he was saying that he works 7 days a week and he has for like the last 20 years.
They do.
And I'm like, why? That sounds terrible.
It's.
But
But you see those guys, it's the way that they're wired.
Yeah.
It's a competitive drive in them. It's why he's a division president, because he works so hard. It's the Philippes, the Frenchies, all those guys. And if I'm going to run alongside those guys, I got to keep up, and they gotta be able to count on me, because I know that Wall Street's not coming down on me.
Yeah.
Wall Street's coming down on them. So I got to be able to support them, and I got to work my ass off to support them. And I got to make sure that I continue to be in a good position in my life, in my career, in my mental and physical state, so that I can perform at a high level to support these guys. And to be honest with you, I found a part of this business that I could be really proud of, that does
fulfills that mental.
It does.
That mental
now when I say,
have.
when I introduce it, I'm like, I run a mortgage team is what I'll say.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of the team that I'm associated with, that I run, because to me the perception of that team is that, hey, call these guys if you want to get your loan closed. Like,
right, you separate yourself from just like the mortgage business. Then your reputation's more about. It's just you now, really, like just you and your team, and it really, like you said, it doesn't really. You don't need to equate yourself with the business, even though that's fine. It's a great business to be in. I'm sure you've gotten past that too. But now it's more of like just you're doing something that helps people and everybody, and you get a lot of recognition, which doesn't hurt, right? Yeah. People like you, so you get more deals, and you've grown this big business. And
but we're at that stage too, and Stacy and I will talk about it. I mean, what's the point of being really good at doing something? If it all ties to how good you are at doing something, if you're not helping other people also be good at it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with our business. The reason that builders think lenders are idiots, because a lot of lenders are idiots, you know?
Yep.
The perception's not just created out of thin air. It's the perception is there because, you know, unfortunately, there's still a lot of people that do it bad. So, but a lot goes into doing it well.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we talked about that transition from player to coach, you know, and that's, you know, that's what excites me moving forward now is that, okay, we know we do a good job on this. We have to help other people learn how to do a good job on this too. We have to stay accountable to the people that trust us. But again, you know, we have to give back.
And that's like your next, before we get like to that next phase, kind of about what we talked about in your office a couple of weeks ago. Let's talk about your transition over here and not necessarily why, but the story that I want to talk about is I'm pretty much going to tell it for you. Mm-hmm. So you were looking to make a move, and it was that point. You guys weren't all together in the same office anymore. You're kind of far away, and you were dealing with some stuff that you felt like you might be able to get done easier, maybe, or have more ownership in your actual business, right? So you were looking around at some other companies, and obviously you and I were friends and from EC70, but I think we knew each other before that. But you were talking to us, and you were talking to the other company. I don't think we need to say it, but and it's an amazing company, right? So you're like leaning back and forth, and you had Stacy and Sarah with you, and you know, you had them go talk to the ownership at both places, and I think they were leaning more towards us, but you were kind of caught up in the whole like competitive thing of like, oh my God, well, because this other place is way bigger and has huge producers, right? So you're like, I don't know, I kind of want to be part of it and be pushed and yada, yada, yada. So you weren't sure what you're going to do, and we sat right down there in the couches, and it was me, you, Jay, Stu, Sarah, Stacy. I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Keith,
yeah.
Yeah. And you were like super torn up because, I mean, you started crying. And you're just like, dude, I don't know what to do. Like, that's when we kind of came to the whole situation with your mom, right? So your mom had already passed, and your dad wasn't like the guy you leaned on for like business information, right? He's like the guy you lean on for love and and to care. But your mom was like it's an alpha female that ran a business, and she you know, if you needed like advice on life stuff, you went to her, right? And I remember you saying that over there, and like, I mean, and Jay's like over there crying and stuff. I mean, it was a very emotional moment though, but it was a really cool moment too, because I think at that point we all went, dude, do whatever you want to do. Like go wherever you want to go. Like, we're here, dude. We love you. You're an amazing person. We don't care if you come here or not. Like, and it wasn't that we didn't want you. We just wanted to make sure that you did what was right for you, because that was like, you like peel the layer of like, oh my God, this dude's like a true like human being that cares, right? You were so worried about hurting everybody's feelings. Like, you loved everybody at Homeowners Financial. These are like your people. You knew you were crushing Tim, and you know, you'd already kind of committed to go over to the other company. You're like, what am I going to do there? And I know, based upon our conversations before, that like kind of what really kind of threw it over for you was that Sarah and Stacy really felt more comfortable here. And
I think it was also in picking between, it was that VIP, you know, at the time, Sarah or Stacy and Amy had came over here to kind of talk. And I said to her, I'm like, look,
that's right.
Like, wherever I go, they're going to show me shiny objects and say,
yeah,
look at this, look at that, look at this,
right.
You know, and say, Austin, we're the
How
best.
much production had you done that year before?
60 million, maybe.
Okay, and then the year before that, maybe. I mean, you were growing 50. Year over year, over year.
Yeah,
once you hit like 60 million, you're pretty much in, you know, the top 5% of people doing it. You're doing a lot of business. That's a lot of business.
Yeah.
Right. So you could go anywhere you wanted to go, and you can get a lot of money wherever you go. So anyway, so Stacy, was it Stacy and Amy or Sarah?
Stacy and Amy, you know, and they went, and again, you know, one's like, you know, come and do our operations day and meet everyone. I'm like, well, I'm not the one who deals with all the operational problems. They do. So I'm like, so don't take me and show me how great everything is. Take them and let them try to poke holes in it. And they did, and they came back, and I'll always remember this. They went there, they came back, and Amy, was awesome. Amy Hall, she's still over at Homeowners right now. She was part of Homeowners when they started. She was going to come with us. I would love to have her with us still. She was an amazing person. But I'm also kind of glad that she stayed over there too, because I think Homeowners, deserve someone incredible like her. But she'd gone through a lot of changes in her life at the time. And I remember she went to that first meeting, she comes back and she goes, Austin, and she starts crying at my desk. She's like, this is for you. You need this. This is exactly where you need to go in your career. They're set up great for you. She's like, and she starts crying. She's like, I can't make another move. I can't have any more change in my life right now.
Is this here or was this the other place?
It's the other place.
Okay.
It's in my office.
Okay.
And I'm like,
no, I mean the other company.
Yeah. And I'm like 100% understand completely. Yeah. Will you do me a favor? Because you're right. We were talking about a bigger company over there that was, kind of the idea of being a part of something bigger at first is what I felt like I needed. I'm like, well, do me a favor then. Knowing everything you know about this whole process now and everything you've been through and everything you know about me, will you go to VIP and will you just, let me know, like, can you take all of that? Can this compare? Can you, are they set up to support us, or are we, because the thought was that, VIP was the same size as Homeowners at the time. And, I'm like, the issues I was having at Homeowners were, maybe a size issue, or we felt we were growing too big. And I'm like, I don't want to see the same thing. Yeah. But again, looking back, everything I liked about Homeowners is things I like about VIP too. I like that it's not too big, if you will. And so she's like, absolutely, I will. And so she comes over here for, VIP day or whatever her and Stacy do. And I remember I like waiting all afternoon for her to call me. And then she didn't call me until like 7 o'clock at night. I'm like, Jesus Christ, And I never answered the phone. She goes, holy shit, Austin. I'm like, what? She's like, I didn't want to like him. But she's like, and when she started talking, when they went to the other place, they came back and they basically said, go back and tell Austin how great we are. We're great at this, we're great at that, we're great at this. And I remember, Stacy's been in this business for 20 plus years. She's fixed problems everywhere she's gone. She's going to blatantly ask, what are you struggling with right now? And when she did, they said, we're struggling with the fact that we're so good at everything. She's like, bullshit. It's the mortgage business. You're always struggling with something. Yeah. This is difficult. It's really difficult. Just tell us what it is. So there was that weird perception of like, okay, everything's like, they put them in one room, brought everyone into them, this giant building. And there's like, it just didn't seem real. Yeah. In a sense, but maybe they're just that great. And they came here and Stacy's like, what are you guys struggling with? And Jay's like, well, this and this and this. But he's like, we feel like you guys can make us better in these areas. And we also know what you're struggling with. And we feel like you can make us better in these areas. Right. And oh, by the way, irregardless of Austin, like, where do you guys want to go in your lives and careers? We want, if he doesn't come over here, not that we're trying to take anyone away from Austin, but, just to know you're talented people, you could always have a spot over there. So basically their whole meeting here was
about them, not you.
Disregard Austin. Yeah. If he's sending you over here, then we're going to know you guys.
Great tactic.
How can we? I know it was not slam dunk, but
it's true though.
Jay called me the day before. He's like, "Hey, tell me about these people, like on a personal level. Who are they? Yeah. So I know who I'm meeting with, and it's not like how do I know how to structure? So I know who I'm talking to, and I know what's important to them, and
because. The truth is, their roles are just as much needed as an LO, to be honest with you. So like they're almost harder to find. Yeah. Somebody that's that talented that can work behind the scenes, but work like an underwriter and a processor and a funder. And,
it's done all these things at a high level.
Yeah. So they're like loan surgeons behind the,
and they experienced it during the boom, which was like where everything got put on to people in their positions.
Right. Yeah. And by the way, we're looking for people like that right now, to be honest with you. I mean, we are for real. Like we
Amy
need more people,
back?
But Amy, no, we're not.
I know. Sorry.
Just maybe.
But she left, and I'm like, she goes through. She's like, I feel like they really wanted to know about me, and so at the end of the conversation, I'm like, so if we went to VIP, would you come? She's like, I think I would, and all of a sudden it went from 90-10 to 50-50. And then once it became 50-50, it became 60-40, 70-30, or I think I missed 90-10. So I guess
80-20.
40-60, 20-80.
Yeah.
But the shift was that VIP was like, hey, we want to go alongside you and take you higher, and we want to be there with you when you do it. The other place was like, you can get higher over here because that's just what people do over here, And then as this drug out a little bit, Jay's approach was like, I know this is really difficult. I know it's a tough decision. Take the time that you need, And the other approach was like, this shouldn't be a difficult decision. Why aren't you saying yes to us?
Right.
So it felt like, you can go, bat ninth for the Yankees or bat cleanup for the Marlins and battle the Yankees, in the same division. I'm like, well, fuck it. I want to do that.
Yeah.
But the turning point, you're right, was we sat over here on the couch, and at the time when I'm going through that process, I was driving my wife crazy because it was driving me crazy inside. Like, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I couldn't talk to anyone about it because everyone I talked to about it is either in the mortgage business or has would have a horse in the race.
Yeah.
And so it was tearing me up inside.
You and I didn't even talk. We didn't talk.
We couldn't because, you were associated with VIP at the time, and we sat there and literally would say, where I got really emotional, I'm like, the one person I need to talk to right now is the one person I can't call.
Yeah.
And that's when everyone just started crying. So, but that was true, it was like I was like, man, I'm holding all this weight and I can't talk to the one person about it that would truly understand the weight.
Yeah.
And they would talk to me in a sense that would offer me the advice that I need.
Yeah. How long ago had she passed before that? It wasn't.
She passed in April 2013. It was actually, I got the call 8 years ago yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a freak accident, but we don't need to go deep into that. But
yeah, it was sudden and unexpected. Yeah. But it was, and that happened at a time when I felt like I just hit momentum in my career. And I remember after she passed, it derailed me for 6 or 8 months. And I remember telling myself, hey, you had it. You just got to get it back. You just got to find it again. But, you get numb in a sense when that happens. And you try to find the drive again that you had. And honestly, I think if she would have passed a year earlier, it might have derailed me more because at least I was able to find that drive finally after so much time. And I think John did do his thing before that, maybe. I don't remember if it was before or afterwards, because me and John talked a lot about my mom after she passed. But everything happens for a reason at the timing that it does.
Yeah.
Me not getting on with Nova up here in 2003 or 2004. Right. John Foltz's meeting with me and my mom passing when she did, the stories behind her passing, meeting Tim Jordan, First Advantage Mortgage and homeowners, and and meeting Philippe and stuff like that, and just chance meetings, and Frenchie, lived in the same neighborhood as me.
Right.
And luckily I'd had a relationship with Philippe in Meritage, a place that he'd come from, and forming a relationship with Frenchie, has been something where, being able to establish a relationship with someone of his magnitude and be able to support, his company and his business, but to have this kind of respect, this mutual respect for each other, he's helped put me in a position that's given me the ability to be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
And it's something that I'll always be really grateful to him for too. And so it's all these forks in the road. It's crazy.
So you came here and you had just done 65, and I remember, so his office, or your office, has glass. The whole front is glass, and you wrote down 100 million on the window, and we're like, oh great, we brought him over here. Now he wants to do, and it wasn't like it was the refi, but you had, obviously you'd grown and kept growing, and you kept bringing more people on, and then let's just fast forward to, COVID, or not even before that, rates are dropping, and you're just cranking, and you're doing, what did you end up doing last year? 160 or something like that?
No, about 190.
198, I think. 198.
Yeah.
All right, so you blew past that 100. But you were working so much. Like, dude, you were working 7 days a week pretty much.
Yeah.
The joke's always been, right, that, I mean, you're always on your phone. You always take calls, which just makes you good at what you do. But you come here during COVID, and you're like one of the only people here because pretty much the office shut down.
For like 6 months, I was the only one on the entire side of the office.
Right. But you talked about like routines before, right? So you get here, or you go somewhere and you work out at 4:30 in the morning, whatever, and then you come to work, and you could come here at 7:00 at night, you'd still be here, right? And Lindsay it affected your life somewhat. She's like, "Where the hell are you ever gonna come home?" And I remember, so you say to me, you're like, "You know how much money I'm making right now?" And she's like, "I don't care how much money we have in the savings account. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you've been saying this for years. Like, who cares?" Like,
Yeah, so I told Lindsay, I'm like, well, I didn't say how much money we're making right now. I said, what I said was, I'm like, this is just bear with me. This is an extraordinary time that we're never going to see again.
Yeah.
And she's like, and I always remember, she's like, you've been saying that for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, you're right.
Right.
Because we've been continuing to grow and grow.
And you got younger kids too.
Yeah. Like the kids are 4 and 6 right now. At the time they were 1 and 3 and 0 and 2. And so you've been saying that for the last, 3 years. When are you going to stop saying that? It's always some reason for it.
Right.
We had a 3-year goal when last year started. We had a vision. I had a 3-year goal. Like, when we want to do 150 million in production. We passed it in September. No one was expecting the extraordinary amount of work that came with last year.
Yeah.
But last year was a time when no matter what you did, every single day is going to feel incomplete because you're never going to keep up with the volume of what's coming through.
Yeah.
And you can't disregard those relationships that move you forward. The builders. I was a turndown lender in a pandemic for months. Everyone thinks the sky is falling, so our phone's ringing more than ever. And then rates plummet, and then every past client that we have would reach out to us, and you want to service them, and you want to help them out. You never want to say no to anyone, and it's yes, 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 yes. And you're right, it could drive you into the ground.
Yeah.
And
plus, things were taking longer. Like, our company wasn't necessarily prepared for a pandemic either, or for rates to go lower than no
it's
company was.
It's not like there's a bunch of people sitting on the sidelines ready to jump in operationally to help all these companies that have 3 times the volume that they have the capacity.
10 times the volume than they have the capacity.
And that's in our world too. It's not like, okay, well, hey,
so you're disappointing people too, even though you're really not. But people feel like
you feel inefficient because you're not used to doing things the way you're used to doing it.
Too much business, not enough time, freaking out. And even though you did astronomical amount of business, I mean, the company basically doubled last year.
Yeah.
But so I went into your office the day that we talked about this, and you were either going to your physical therapy or you had just gone or something because you had sneakers on, I remember, and you always wear dress clothes. He's like the only one still. But everything's repetition with you, so like you have to do the same thing every day.
I wore shorts for like 2 weeks in COVID, and
then
I'm the only guy with a dry cleaning bill through COVID.
Yeah, he was here by himself in dress clothes, which is great though. I mean, that's what you do. But you were so frustrated because someone had called in and complained, right? An agent had called in and complained because you hadn't returned a phone call fast enough.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen you so, like, first of all, you were kind of aggro. You were going back and forth with the agent, which you'll never do via email, obviously.
No, it's on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're like, show me the timestamps of when you called me. And he's like, 6:21 and 6:22. He's like, or 4:21, 4:20, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, you called back to back within like seconds. Like, and did you leave a message? No. Well, I have 80 calls an hour. If you don't leave a message, did you send a text? No. And so anyways, the point of my story is you were so frustrated. Oh, I know what it was. You were going to coach. So that's why you had your clothes on. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I am so done with like not focusing some of my attention on the stuff that I need to be focusing my attention on.
Yeah.
Like, I've worked my ass off so much and did so much business and made great money and broke records, but I'm done with that. Like, I need to create more space for myself in my personal life. I need to build a better system, more people to handle more of the stuff that you're doing, that you need to get yourself out of the weeds a little bit and get, elevate yourself to a little bit more of the CEO role, because you are the CEO and the CFO and the COO. And then you have, your team, but you might have a COO over here as well with Stacy, but you do her job with her, right? And it's like, so you've got yourself in, the guy doing as much business as you're in the weeds way more than most people, right? So you're like, I'm going to Coach Brody's football game. And you're like, you know what I think my passion is? 6-year-old flag football. You're like, I love it. I love coaching the kids.
I remember I told you, I'm like, in however many years, it's the first thing that I've found that my brain shuts off from everything else for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so glad I found it, and I love it, because you grow up on a field, you play sports till you're in your 20s. I love the smell of grass. I love the competition. I love helping people. But you're right. And when we talk about, I remember that conversation, one thing that came out of last year that I learned is that, one, I need to do a better job of teaching people. I need to be a leader and help them get better. And if we do that, we'll all do better. If everything's just tied with my ability to do something, then who am I helping? I'm not. When I retire, then no one knows what I did, because I hadn't taught anyone to do it.
Right.
2, I'm only surrounding myself with the people that I would run through walls for, and that we have this respect. The Frenchies, the builders, the people that we've grown this. Yes, you know what? I'll work my ass off. You call me at 9 o'clock at night, you're going to call me because you need me, I'm going to answer it.
Yeah.
That's right. But, if you're this agent who's calling me saying, hey, I think he emailed Karen Bailey at corporate because I hadn't returned a phone call or an email from like 10:30 in the morning, and it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I remember I called him, and I'm very mild-mannered. I'm respectful for everyone. I'm accommodative, and I'm usually like, yes,
That's
yes,
the first time I've ever seen you fired up.
And it was a time when I'm like, you know what? Like, there's no respect in this right now. Your email is received, it takes some research to respond to, in a sense, and saying that you've been calling me, and you called my office line twice, and you didn't leave a message. Well, how in the hell would I know that you called, when odds are, I'm forward facing with clients, or I'm out with referral partners, or I'm talking to clients, and then you clear messages and calls as they come in, and you've got a team that kind of helps you with that. And it was such I think it was the first time that someone I felt like tried to, poke a hole in that thought process that you don't work hard. It's very common. I don't know if you're out playing golf or something, and it was everything in me not to respond, in a sense, with vulgar language and stuff. And
massively disrespectful on his side.
It was, and it was, and when I hung it up, and you would just come into my office, and I'm like, you know what, man? Like, I'm so glad that I'm going to coach my son right now.
Yeah.
Because I need this 90-minute release to refresh or recharge. And then I'm like, and you know what? I feel like I found one of my passions in life.
Yeah.
Like, I look so forward to getting out there and coaching him and being with those kids and helping them out. And it's an eye-opening experience. It's like, okay, well, you've got to get your life and your work in line and in order, because he's 6, she's 4. And you want to be a part of this moving forward, you have to do a better job of training people, teaching people, leading people, helping people, surrounding yourself with people that you want to work with and for. And, I feel like we've positioned ourselves to do that. There's some things. And to be honest with you, I think in COVID, people's respect for just common courtesy or personal boundaries was thrown out the window.
Yeah, it was gone.
Yeah, because everyone's working from home, so 8 to 5 really means like 6 to 2, and then take a break for a couple hours, and then again until 9 and 11 o'clock. So no one's got a problem text messaging you at 9:30 at night. They just think that it's part of the normal interaction, which is, again, I've been someone who's always been fine with that. But I think that people have got really frustrated last year. As a country, we need to chill the fuck out.
Right.
And just, okay, everything's opening back up. It's getting there. Let's calm down. Let's treat people with respect. And, and when I feel like the respect is gone, I feel like it's my place now to say, hey, no, that's not how you talk to people. That's not how this business goes. That's not how you treat other people, you know, and you're wrong in that sense. And I feel like I position myself, you know, from a respect level and where we're at in our business to tell people that. And a lot of people don't. They shy away from it.
Yeah.
And because they don't, it continues to happen. But I think that, you know, we all need to work together, respect each other, know that every part of all of this is very, very tough, you know?
So do you think that one of your biggest weaknesses, though, is that you can't let go because
Yeah,
of your relationships?
Absolutely, because it's my name tied to it at the end, you know? And some people's leadership ways are, hey, well, when they fail, they learn, you know? I can't do that because, you know, if they fail, I fail, we fail, but not only just I fail, I'm fine if I fail, but I can't fail the people that rely on me,
right.
You know? But I think that's what makes us good at what we do is because, you know, those relationships are so important to me.
Yeah.
And
so how are you going to get out of your own way then? If
I'm gonna get better at the relationships that are important to me, and I'm gonna get better at the people that are with me to help make sure that because here's the thing, you know, we had months last year where we were, you know, doing 100 loans a month or about to, you know,
right.
That's just not the norm. So this year already.
What is that?
I can hear all of it though.
Is that Eric playing his stereo outside?
It's a
White Jeep.
Oh my gosh, Eric. Thanks, Killstrom. He's 50, by the way. But that is nice bass.
That is great bass. But yeah, I've got to get better at, you know, one, we have our relationships. We want to make sure that they're better and better. And we're fortunate to have them.
Yeah.
You know, and we do a really good job with them. You know, I've got to get better personally. I need to dive into my leadership skills, you know. I need my executive coaching. I need people helping me out. I need to constantly be looking to get better. But when you go through last year, you start to realize some things that you don't want to go through again, or ways that you're not going to be treated, or things that might try to disrupt, you know, your respect, I think, if you will. And to me, because it's my name, because it's my mom, because it's my reputation, if you do anything that to me feels disrespectful, I'm going to tell you. And I'm not gonna deal with it.
Yeah. So, sorry, this guy's distracting me outside, but so okay, but you're gonna have to figure out like the succession, right?
Yeah.
So, I think one thing that we've done a really good job at is we have Bree and Chrissy kind of handle a lot of this stuff, right? So, bringing in the people that your referral partners that love you, they have to have the ability to love the people that you love, right? Yeah. So you've got to be able to figure out who's going to be doing, who's running alongside you, or who are you going to teach to do what you do, and how are you going to be comfortable building those, or going and introducing them to Frenchie basically and say, hey, this is the person that's working with me now. Or they already know, obviously, Stacy and Sarah, and I know you have a bunch of other people. It's just a matter of like who you finding that person that you're going to trust enough.
Yeah.
And that may take time, obviously, as you're
yeah,
like
you've got to have a 5 and a 10-year vision on that, you know. But you know, my thought is, you know, I mean, for the near future, for the next 5 years, the next 3 to 5 years, I feel like my ability to do this, you know, is important to the people that need my ability to do it, which is those turn down people, those clients that need, you know, someone to say yes that knows what they're doing. Yeah. And continue to define a process on my team so that our level of play continues to rise and rise. And I'm very fortunate that, you know, the level of play on my team is very, very high. And I think as we continue to get better at that, you know, there's not going to be a drop off from any transition on the team. And when that's the case, then that's your magic, you know. If my discovery conversations are there and we're, you know, we're kind of deciphering the issues, we're kind of playing doctor on this thing, but we're doing it as a team together, and we know, hey, here's the baton, run with it, you've got the play. that, that's a transition, if you will,
Because right now, you'll take a loan app.
Yeah.
Right? You'll structure the loan. You'll calculate the income. You'll not send out the needs list, though, right?
I'll do whatever is needed to kind of, especially last year, a lot of leaders kind of would do whatever is needed to get things through.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, when I'm looking at something, in an ideal world, I'm looking at something that the application and paperwork is complete.
Yeah.
So I can look at it at the high level and say, okay, what are the issues? How do we fix it? Okay,
Right.
this is what we're gonna do.
Right. That's the part you like.
It is.
It's like
you're
like fixing a freaking.
But I also like looking in people's
Rubik's
eyes
Cube.
and having to be like, I will do whatever it takes to get this house.
Yeah.
And like, you sit across from me and you tell me that, and I believe you,
Yeah.
even if you're not where you need to be.
Right.
I'm gonna say yes. And
you'll get them where they need
and
to
I'll
go.
get them
Yeah.
there.
It might take long. It might take a while.
I think 20 or 30% of the deals that we've closed that have been turned down builder deals have people would not touch or take.
Yeah.
It's been more of a belief in people. And when you do that and they know that, hey, I'm here to support you and there's no one better than my team to help you through this. Here's what you need to do. I believe you could do it. You told me you'll do anything. Here's what it takes.
Yeah.
And they do it and they perform, and those are the kind of people that, when they cry when they get their keys and they call you back and they thank you,
Right.
Or they send you a picture, in their new house, that's the reward,
Your care factor is so strong that it's just like that. It's almost like it's your best attribute and it's your biggest problem because you pulling away. I mean, you're doing it now, but you're doing really slowly, right? So you're leaving it for 4:30 because you got football practice, right? And then it's going to be baseball practice or whatever it's going to be. So you're going to continuously do that sort of stuff because, I mean, the sad thing is I don't, it's like if you weren't the coach, it's easier not to go to practice. Right. Oh, it's just practice. I'll be there for the games. And, you see people go through that process, but you're a very hands-on father. And obviously football was your passion. You're coaching with somebody cool too. And, it's cool to experience that thing. So you might have accidentally gotten into this situation where we're going, okay, I like this. And this is something I really enjoy doing. I'm not going to miss doing that. But when you get done with practice and you come home, you have dinner, and do you go back to work?
Lately.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
you have to though.
Coming out of last year, we had to.
We're just so busy. It's tough, but
it's not the long term.
Yeah,
it can't be. It just physically can't be at some point.
You're 40, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're still super young, and you got time.
And again, we worked really hard to get to this position right now.
Yeah.
It's not the time to transition from the position.
No.
But I look at if I got to be at my son's practice at 4:30. We all got to be better from 8 to 4:30.
Right.
Because we could do it all.
Yeah.
If as far as I'm concerned, if we do our job right Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, nights and weekends we're available if needed. We shouldn't be doing our job nights and weekends that we should be doing Monday through Friday from 8 to 5.
Yeah.
So either we need to hire more people to do the things that aren't the best use of our time, or we need to do a better job at the things we should be doing. And for me, that's what frustrates and drives me, I think, is that if I'm working at something at 9 o'clock at night, I'm like, why didn't this get done at this time? Always looking for ways to be more efficient, I think, and that's where, I'm in that transition from coach to or player to coach is important. And that's where I need the most help right now, I think, is, again, the guy who would do everything from start to finish to the guy, here's the process, here's what you're responsible for, here's what you are. Guess what? Not everything goes through the process. So what happens when it doesn't there? Can you pivot like I pivoted?
Yeah.
And then teaching people, no, learning lesson, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a slow transition.
Yeah, it has to be. Hopefully, business stays the way it is, and and there's a ton of growth happening in this. We're going to be good for a while.
Right.
It's just a matter of like quality of life and decide when you're
driven environment that we're going into. You're going to
Right.
remove this extraordinary amount of refinance business, which frustrated a lot of us just because of the pure volume in it.
Right.
And that's where the inefficiencies came. Right. Well, now we're in a more purchase focus. Well, guess what? You just go through originating, 80 to 120 loans a month to 50 to 60. Shit, you could do that with your eyes closed.
Well, this goes back to Tim when you were saying, and Tim's like, I wouldn't do that. you're eventually going to have to do that. You're going to be like, listen, my people can't be working this much, or I've got to slow it down a little bit, and that's what it will go.
Well, we're selective in the relationships that we take.
Yeah,
they have to be mutually
huge.
beneficial.
Yep.
We want to align with the right people.
Yeah.
And I think we've done a good job of that. I think now it's like we want to perform at the level we're capable of for the people we've aligned with.
So where are you guys projected to be at the end of the year if you're staying at the same pace?
It's nice to be around that 200 million mark. Again, with a higher percentage in purchase. I think that it'll probably tailor off some just with the market and inventory where it's at, and even builders are on lot release right now. So I could see it maybe dropping down into that 150 or 160 range.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not the guy that's like, I want to do 500 million or $1 billion, or look at some of the things these people do, or be responsible for this like extraordinary territory of people that I'm responsible for. Because I want the association of the business that I do tied to my name to be good.
Yeah.
I know it can't be good when it's spread that thin.
Yeah.
But I think that it could be very, very strong, in that range, at that level.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, I think this went better than the first one.
I just want to do more than Stuart.
That's well, Stuart and Ryan, by the way. That's
Stuart
what that
and
means.
Ryan.
So, Trisha, you have any? We did the rapid fire questions last time. Do you remember those? Do you remember doing them at least?
I remember doing them.
Okay, I think you're blacked out at that point. But we just want to do these real quick rapid fire questions to kind of wind it down a little bit. But before we do that, dude, I think that it's super cool that we got to do this again, because we didn't like the first one. We talked about that before. Like, and we were still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But we talked so much about the business, and we talked a lot about it today as well. But like, I think the evolution of seeing of you make that change that day and being there for that change that day was super cool. So it was like the perfect kind of storm of the fact that we could just go, you know what, dude, we can redo this, and it's going to be way better. I'm better, you're better, she's better. He's always been good.
When you get through, before the end of 2020 to now, a lot of people have look back on that. A lot of people experienced similar things that I did.
Oh, for sure. A ton of people did. So
moments of exhaustion there. That your mindset's a lot different now than it was.
And not just our industry, right?
When you're in the middle. Yeah, a lot of industries. But when you're in the middle of it,
yeah,
that's not what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
When you're kind of out of it, you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's brutal.
All
right, Trish, fire away.
All right. This is one that I asked you last time, or that Ryan asked you last time, but I liked your
Can you hear?
answer, so I'm gonna ask you
Okay.
again. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I'm going to be a PE teacher and a coach, man.
Is that what he said last time?
That's what he said last time.
PE teacher and
Still
coach.
there.
I know
Now it's even stronger.
Dude, you're halfway there, dude.
I've got my whistle already.
Okay. If you could be an animal, what would it be?
Ooh. I say cheetah for my son. It's like his favorite animal. 'Cause it's super fast.
Yeah. Is your son fast like you were?
He is.
Is he?
You know what's funny though? He runs on his toes like me, which is like
Build those
almost
calves.
It's almost uncomfortable because like even Lindsay will make fun of me. Like my high school football team called me princess because I run on my toes, but I run fast. He just runs on his toes. And everyone's like, oh my God, he's so cute when he runs on his toes. And Lindsay's like, he runs like Austin. But he's super fast.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, one more. What is something that you can't do?
Can't do. I can't sing as much as I would love to because I had identity issues in high school and I thought I was a R&B singer. I can't sing.
Here's a fun fact about Austin. He knows more about 90s R&B, but not, I don't mean like R. Kelly. I mean like, well, maybe kind of like R. Kelly, but like Maxwell, and Sade and Babyface,
John B.
Joe.
Yeah,
Babyface. So good.
Oh, Maxwell would be great.
So Maxwell is also one of my favorites too, which is super weird for us both, for both of us to like Maxwell, because everybody in here would be like, what the hell? But you have a favorite song because of, was it Does it have anything to do with your wedding? I can't
It was
remember.
my wedding song.
Oh, okay, that's right.
So yeah, it's a good one.
For people that don't know Maxwell, by the way, he was actually Sade's backup singer.
Was he
Still
really?
is right now. It's his day. But Urban Sweet Hangout?
Did you go to the concert when he was here?
No, you did though.
Yes, I did. I had a suite.
I know.
I'm so excited.
I don't know why I didn't go.
So
One of the best albums of all
we
time.
were picking song, and I'm like, that's like my perfect moment. You know, the first dance song at your wedding. I'm gonna pick like the best R&B '90s song, and everyone's like, oh my god, I love this song. It's great. Because I'm like, again, I know every one of them by heart. It seems, and so I picked Maxwell Lifetime because I'm it sounds appropriate. It's a good dance song. It's Lifetime. We're getting married, so we do our first dance, and Lindsay went along with it. And so we go to the concert like 2 or 3 years ago. And I'm like, God, I can't wait till he plays Lifetime. I can hear it live, And he gets on the stage and he goes, this next song was written about the the unjust incarceration of African American women all over the United States. And I'm like, wait a second, I know this background beat. And he plays Lifetime. And I'm like, sorry, honey. Guess that's a sign of like your life with me, I guess.
It's an
I'm
incarceration.
like, what the fuck? How did I get that so wrong?
Oh man, that is so
was
good.
my first dance.
That was so good. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up. Thanks again to VIP for hosting us here, letting us do this. We're evolving. We've got a table now. Got a nice little shelving unit over there. Got rid of the other thing that we had. We're gonna hang some curtains up in here too, and get a better table. So yeah, thanks Trish for everything you're doing to help with the podcast
you.
and social media. And sorry that we don't have. I can't say my nephew anymore, so it's not a family affair. But we have his best friend that looks just like him, his doppelganger.
What's his first name? Story? What story?
Dylan Story.
Dylan Story.
Remember, it's like a name from Greece. Not from Greece, from Greasers. Soda Pop, Dylan Story, Pony Boy. Anyways, everybody, please. The only way this is going to continue to work is we need people to like and subscribe us on YouTube. Go to our Instagram page, Real Talk with Ryan Madrid, Facebook as well. The more activity we have, obviously, the better it'll be. And we need to get up to 10,000 people subscribed so we can start doing some ads and stuff so we can get more people to watch these. But for now, thank you for everybody who has watched. We get a lot of great feedback. Moving forward, it's pretty awesome. I just want you to show you this real quick. It keeps popping in my hand. You know who that is?
Who is that?
Look
Is
closer.
that Silent Bob?
No, it's somebody we know.
Is that fucking Jay?
It's Kent.
Oh my God, it is Ken. Holy shit.
He made stickers of himself dressed as a cowboy.
God,
And this
I
pen
envy his mindset in life.
just pops up everywhere. I don't even know. It's just like I'll end up in my office an hour later and this will be there, but I left it here. I don't know. I just always end up with this damn sticker. Here you go, Kent. Thanks for the
That's
for
who
the
I
pen.
need to coach me on leadership, man.
Yeah, and just life in general. He's
Kent-
good at life. He's
Kent
good at
and
buying
Mike.
cool stuff.
Yeah,
All right, so anyways, that wraps it up. Thanks again. And there we go.
that's fun. Take 2.
Take 2. Yep. Real Talk is brought to you by Tsunami. We all know that we should be doing more videos than we are doing. And one of the hesitations for myself is that I don't feel like I do a very good job filming them. I get nervous about the way they're going to look. And I'm pretty sure that most people feel the same way as I do. So Tsunami is a product that will allow you to film your own videos. And you can send those videos via the app that you can download on the App Store. And they will make the video look professional because it is done by a professional editing team. So you want a header, you want a footer, you want to just look better in general. And for the cost, it's unbelievably inexpensive. So if you're looking for video help, this is the best way to go about doing it. Especially if you want to film videos on your phone, like we all should. So it's Tsunami with an X, and that's it.